Mary's father has four daughters.
Okay.
East, West, North, and who?
South. Hello, my name is Chidima and I am with
Zanny Newton.
and we are students of Loughborough University.
Yep,
I am
yep.
studying international relations,
Doing business analysis and management.
masters by the
Exactly.
way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're here in the beautiful town of Loughborough
Yep.
to interview a few people and find out how their experiences have been living in Loughborough,
Yeah.
especially international students and foreigners here in Loughborough. And for you coming to Loughborough, I know that the information will be very useful to you.
Exactly. Let's go into the street and see what people think about Loughborough.
Hi, I'm Tis. I'm from the local area, i.e. from just outside of Loughborough. I've lived here for 15 years. Actually immigrated here to the UK from Jamaica back in 2002. And I went to the Montfort University, finished there, did law there, practiced for a couple of years. Now I do my own business and I also work as a full-time consultant. So that's pretty much me. I'm also a born-again Christian.
Nice.
Have been a born-again Christian for about 14 years as well. So I got saved not long after I came to the UK. So that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
So basically, how's your experience been in the UK so far?
It's been a very, very good one. I mean, from where I'm from as a Jamaican, you do find lots of Jamaicans who come to the UK and they choose various paths. If you choose to be a Christian and serve God, God opens doors for you. But there are those who take a different path. And you can see people that I came with in 2002, some of them are in prison. Some of them are still illegal immigrants or whatever it may be. But there are those like myself and my family and my people within my circle of friends who made choices to, number one, put God first, and number two, choose to make positive decisions about academia, about education, and about business. And the result is that I'm in a different place to where they are today. So it's been a very good experience in terms of interacting with people from different cultures, and to sort of embrace what people allege to be British culture, but we don't really know what that is exactly. Really.
So, let me narrow the scope down. I would say UK now. Let me say Loughborough. Outside Loughborough, the little town you live, Loughborough, coming to Loughborough. How's it been like?
In Loughborough?
In Loughborough, yeah.
Loughborough is a very interesting place because what you have with Loughborough is you have a lot of different cultures that are here. Even though it's a small town, you think, my goodness, you see people from China, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Botswana. I met about 10 Nigerians today alone. Some of them from one of the northern states, someone from Lagos, different places. It's a very different, very mixed, very multicultural, very open in terms of people coming in and being welcomed, etc. So that's good in that sense.
You know about the EU referendum?
I do know about it. I actually wrote an article.
Oh wow!
When the referendum was around. I work for a company in the energy sector, and the chairman of my board thought he'd send an email around to everybody to tell us how we ought to vote. And he took the view that we all should vote to remain in the EU, and I couldn't let it rest. So I emailed it's a massive company, so I emailed the chairman back and told him I'm not having that. And I began to list a whole bunch of reasons why we should leave the EU. And the list became an article, which I published on LinkedIn about the whole thing. So yeah, it was a very big thing. It had a massive impact on the psyche of the country. It brought a lot of division between different parts of the country, divided by both demographic, i.e. age, and geography as well. So you'll find people in certain parts of the UK, London, the major cities, tend to be pro the EU and want to remain, but those who are from the shires, from the counties, those who are older, and I find that many people who are from what are former colonies of Britain have a different perspective of why you would want to be independent than people who have always lived in the city and don't know anything about what freedom really is, because they've never been enslaved. That's another story.
So throughout the process so far, do you think there's been any change so far in terms of
in the UK
yeah.
since the referendum? Yes, There's certainly a great deal of uncertainty in the financial markets. I work in energy and trading, and I consult companies around that. And there's lots of my clients who have delayed investment decisions. So there's been that change. There has been a change in terms of the housing market. The prices have begun to slow a little bit. So from a financial perspective, yes, there are impacts on that. We've seen some stalling of direct foreign direct investment because of uncertainty of what the relationship will look like after Brexit. But from a social perspective, i.e. me personally, I haven't seen a great deal of change. I still have to go to the shop and buy my food. I still have to, the one problem, I travel a lot around the world, and I have seen the pound fall by 30% and so the cost of going, when I go to Nigeria in February this year, I won't buy as many naira with my money as I would have liked to vote. But apart from that, socially, there have been no changes. I have far more heated debates with people because people take very viscerally strong views about what side of the debate they want to be on. So people who are very staunch pro-EU people will see me in a Trump t-shirt and say, hey, you must have supported Brexit. We don't like you. And I'm like, hey, let's have an argument about it. So it's it's good. It's good. It's good.
So I also want to find out, like, what do you foresee probably, like, you know, at the moment there's this 2-year process for the process for the Brexit referendum to be completed. So what do you foresee, like, probably, like, they'll get stable again, or there'll be like more diverse effects in the economy, like stuff like that you're talking about in terms of investment, in terms of housing, in terms of currency fluctuation?
Fundamentally, the issues around uncertainty is around finances. The medium-term impact that I see potentially, it could go either of two ways. There could be a greater integration of the relationship with the Commonwealth countries, potentially. Or if I were a cynic, I would say that's a very nice ploy that Nigel Farage used to get immigrants to vote for them. Because if they don't like white people coming here, then why on earth would they like black people coming here? So that's my cynical view of it. Obviously, if you know about economic theory, you know about the idea of gravity. The further you are away, the less likely there is for trade to take place. So as much as we're banging on about trade deals with these far-flung places, how much more will trade be increased will be limited by the gravity theory in terms of economics there. In terms of diverse impacts on the country, we will see potentially wages begin to rise, and in fact we've already seen wages begin to rise because of the number of people leaving to go back to the EU countries, or the number of people not coming to fill those places. As a result, starting salaries for certain positions have begun to rise. So there is that impact as well. I don't think Britain will become inward looking. If I'm going to be cynical, I don't think we would have left the EU before 2022. I think the political will does not exist to take us out of the EU. So for that reason, we will continue to be a part of it in the medium term. In terms of other impacts, I see potentially, and I'm getting more spiritual now in terms of my perspective of it all. I see there's a dynamic that is involved with biblical prophecy around what's going on now, and so there is a medium-term view about the book of Ezekiel, chapter 30 and 31. There's a war that's spoken about in that. What's going on now with North Korea is also got some kind of biblical shadows and foretypes there. So there could be an implication for a revival of the possibility of the gospel in today's age. So there could be a revival of that, insofar as if we do fall off a Brexit cliff edge, it becomes more difficult. The problem with people in this country not getting saved is because they don't need Jesus for their physical needs, because the government takes care of it. But if you have a more stable and a more Americanized approach to social care and social welfare, then it will cause people to realize that actually I have needs, the government won't meet that, let me turn to God. And I'm hoping that that is a result of that. So people are saying, oh, we're going to have an economic crash. I'm hoping we do, because wherever that happens, there's an opportunity for the gospel to be preached. And so that's my view.
I want to find out about maybe if you have family in Jamaica or friends that are trying to come into the UK, probably for study or for work. How have they perceived the whole Brexit situation?
Specifically with Jamaica, the perspective of access to the UK is pretty much unchanged. It's unchanged purely because Jamaica requires visas. Jamaicans require visas to come here. That has been the case since 2005 because of all the yardies coming here selling jokes and being crazy. So the perception of the difficulty of getting in remains exactly the same. Brexit has not changed that at all. What it has given is some glimmer of hope because of rhetoric from politicians that say they want to re-engage with the Commonwealth countries, they're looking to do trade deals, etc. Is the Jamaican economy big enough to command the kind of trade deal whereby we will give our nationals greater access to the UK? No, we haven't got that kind of economic clout. Jamaica's economy is pretty much a basket case insofar as it concerns the amount of debt that they have. So not really any change in terms of the prospects of getting here for Jamaicans. I don't think Jamaicans need to leave Jamaica though. I think the first world countries like England and America need to give them fairer deals, cut some of the debt that they have, so they can actually vie on the world stage in a competitive way.